Peeps, it's your boy Uncle Fred back in the house, back on the saddle. A little bit more content today as the owners meeting gets started here in Arizona. A couple of things I want to talk to you about from the NFL perspective. Lamar Jackson officially asked for a trade today out of Baltimore. We're going to talk briefly for a minute about that. Um, Owners meeting, as I said, started today in Arizona. Jerry Jones said some curious things. Then Stephen Jones spoke about a lot of things. We'll talk a little bit about that, and a lot of the um, reporters. Your Calvin Hills, your Clarence Hill, Calvin Watkins. That's what I should have said. Michael Gelkins, Mike Fisher, all of them were all there to ask some questions, but nobody asked him the question that I wanted to have asked. And that's about Bobby Wagner. We'll talk a little bit about that too, and I'm going to show you an article that was written about that from CowboySI.com. And then also uh, new numbers was given out um, because some players have come and gone. Some of the numbers will surprise you, but anyway, that and a whole lot more. Sit back for a taste and listen to your boy Uncle Fred as we spout out all the Cowboys news. We'll be right back in just a minute. What's good, people? Once again, Uncle Fred back in the house. One more again, please hit that like, comment, and subscribe and become a part of the Uncle Fred Sports Experience. So I guarantee you, you will not be disappointed. All right, let's get at it here. First thing I heard today on the news today, as it relates to NFL perspectives. Um, so Lamar Jackson, we know we've been listening in all the off season. Lamar Jackson wants a fully guaranteed contract. It's all in the air as to what that should be. Of course, it got leaked that they offered him 133 over 3 years or something like that, which is like 44 million a year or something like that. But it was fully guaranteed. So, but anyway, there's been a lot of back and forth and whatnot. And of course, we know that Lamar don't have an agent, which I think starts to rear its head in things like this because you're having people that are not experienced in negotiating that are actually talking to the club and talking to the GMs and all those, and it's been going back and forth, and they slapped that exclusive tag on him, which means that you got to get, which offers him 32 million a year, but allows him to test the free agent market. But then they own all the rights to that. So if he go out there and get a deal, the Ravens have an opportunity to match that deal. And if they decide that that's too rich for their blood and they let, say, another team get a hold of him, then that team has to give the Baltimore Ravens not one, but two first-round draft picks. So with that being going on, then you're talking, and as it's been going on, now you hear about today that he's formally asked for a trade from the Baltimore Ravens. Now, your boy Uncle Fred kind of sits square right in the middle of this because I think Lamar Jackson is a fantastic talent. Never seen a player quite like him. Been watching football a long time. He is a peculiar talent. He's just one of one. There's nobody like him. All right, Baltimore Ravens was really lucky to get him. Right, so We know that my boy, got the fully guaranteed deal for the Browns. Me and names. Um, Signed a fully guaranteed $230 million deal with the Cleveland Browns. Okay. So with that being said, and we know Lamar Jackson is better than him. His name will come to me in a minute. Me and names sometimes don't get along, as far as being able to recall them like that. You know what I'm saying? But um, but anyhow, he seems to think that hey, I need to get that kind of contract that he got, or more than he got, and I think DaCosta has said that that's not going to be the thing that we're going to do. We're going that, and they spoke out against that contract. A lot of owners spoke out against that contract. Which, look, man, I think that it wouldn't be a bad thing to have some fully guaranteed contract for certain players, for like certain key players, like your quarterback, your franchise quarterback, maybe a left tackle, maybe a prize edge rusher, you know, something like that. I don't think that would be a bad thing. The owners don't like it because those are salary cap killers, so they're not looking for that. But anyhow, but here's the thing though. And see, a lot of people are coming out saying, like, hey, man, these teams then colluded so that they don't give Lamar this deal. And I wouldn't put it past the teams to do that. But here's the thing. Them putting that exclusive tag on him kind of has, sullied the thing a little bit because, look, man, I like Lamar Jackson, but if my team was trying to get him and wanted to get him, first of all, they're going to have to offer, would have to offer at least north of $200 million, guaranteed money. All right. First thing, that's on your salary cap, $200 million. Then you'd have to give up 2 first-round draft picks. Now, I'm telling you right now, the way these teams look at draft capital, they're not trying to give up no 2 first-round picks. So that's why teams really ain't trying to, there may be some collusion going on. I wouldn't put it past them. Those greedy, 1%ers, billionaires. Wouldn't put it past them. And they say, hey, man, don't negotiate with them. Don't talk to them. Don't talk to them. But the thing is, Lamar's not helping it out now by not hiring representation. Cost you 2-3%, dude. Get you some representation. When those dudes handling your case, handling your negotiations, you don't say nothing. You work on getting ready to play. Let them do all the talking, right? That's what needs to happen, okay? Because it would never have gotten leaked out what the teams offered him, okay? And that's just the way it is. But anyway, man, he's asked for a trade. We'll see what happens, man. That's just interesting how that all come about, man. And we'll sit back and we'll watch and see what happens as it relates to that. But they got but here's the thing. The coach, I don't know if they spoke to him at the owners meeting or not, but he's not an owner, but he spoke like, hey, man, I'm fired up about Lamar Jackson, man. I'm ready to get him back in here. And I'm like, dude, do you not know that dude and asked for a trade? So, John Harbaugh. So I don't know what he's thinking about, but yeah, he wants Deshaun Watson. That's his name, mean name. He wants that Deshaun Watson money. And so we'll see how that goes. We'll stay in tune for that. Anyway, as it relates to the Cowboys, they had, as I said, the owners' meetings were today. Jerry said some interesting things. I got some information from a Cowboy fan talk today. Shout out to my man, Mr. Rome. And apparently Jerry said something about, as he was talking about the draft and things like that, and asked about Tyron Smith and Terrence Steele and stuff like that, and talking about, who you might want to pick in the draft and stuff like that, and say no. They talked about Terrence Steele. We know Terrence Steele tore his ACL in the December game, right before Christmas, I think, against the Texans. And if you've watched the video, Terrence Steele been tearing the thing up, man. He is moving around and doing exercises and different movements and stuff like that. Just 4 months after surgery, they say he's going to be ready for training camp. Okay, that speaks to his work ethic, his professionalism, his military upbringing, and things I've read about him. Free agent, undrafted free agent out of Texas Tech. Um, you know, and I believe he was on his way to a Pro Bowl right tackle last year before that happened. But anyway, Jared said something to the effect that he mentioned him. And he said, "Yeah, well, we need him to for depth purposes. Like Terrence Steele gonna play swing tackle." And I'm like, man, the way that dude prepared and how he was playing last year, man, didn't really give up no pressures or nothing like that. Better than Lyle Collins. I don't care what nobody was saying. Folks argued me down last year when I said, no, man, dadgum Terrence Steele playing better than Lyle Collins, man. No, man. And because Lyle Collins was a first-round talent out of LSU and got into some trouble. But he's never really been the professional, man. The drug, getting, the drug test, trying to, and getting suspended on silly stuff, I just never thought he was all in, man. I thought he got his money, and it was like, hey, man, I'm in like Flynn, and then and they got rid of him last year, and he's not doing that well with the Bengals this year either. They're saying they may release him, so But anyhow, but no, Terrence Steele working how he's working to get back, and to find out that his owner has said that he gonna be depth, and maybe swing tackle or whatever. I don't know if I'm not speaking it exactly how it was said, but Jerry, you got to quit talking so much, man, because I know you're the billionaire owner. We know you don't watch film. Anybody watching film knows that Terrence Steele is one of our five best offensive linemen and whatnot. So, and of course now they talked to Steven. And Steven actually talked some intelligent stuff, man. I was kind of down on him at the combine. He was pretty articulate and pretty forthcoming. Talked about a lot of things. Talked about the kicker. We need to get a kicker. He said that's an itch we got to get scratched right there, because a lot of people kind of like, we have Brett Maher, but I'm saying they're not bringing him back. Dude missed 4 extra points in the game. And Vaccaro, I can't see them bringing it. Is it Vaccaro, Vizcaino? It was something like that. They're probably not bringing it. So they're going to need to get them a kicker. So he talked about that and talked about offensive line too, but he said what we'll do is put the best 5 on the field. Best 5. So to me, that means Tyron Smith at left tackle, Tyler Smith at left guard, because you lost Conor McGovern. I keep going to call him Conor McGregor, like the MMA fighter, but Conor McGovern, he plays for the Buffalo Bills now. Okay. So Tyler Smith will probably get, then you got Tyler Biadasz at center, and then you're going to have obviously Zach Martin at left, at right guard, and then you're going to have, to me, Terrence Steele at right tackle. Now, the way he was saying is that maybe you put Tyron Smith at right tackle while, and maybe you might do that if Terrence Steele wasn't ready to start a training camp, because Tyler Smith did play a good left tackle, especially for a rookie. He did got a few times. He was still kind of high in penalties, but he's a rookie. So, but if Terrence Steele is ready to go, Terrence Steele is playing right tackle. He's not playing swing tackle. I don't know what Jerry's talking about, but Steven said, the best 5 will play and things of that nature. So he talked about that. He talked about as far as the draft and the offensive line and different things. He said, well, you going to attack the offensive line in the draft or he said, well, this draft, we're trying to be pure, where you try to get, all your stuff in the free agency and the trades prior to, and then basically when you go to the draft, you just get the best available player based on how you scored each position group player. So, that sounded pretty intelligent to me. But then the thing I wanted them, nobody asked, because I was listening to Mike Fisher. They was like, hey, y'all come up with some questions for me to ask. Because, he talked to, Calvin Hill, Clarence Hill, Calvin Watkins, Michael Gelkin, all them dudes was there to ask questions and stuff. So he's like, "Hey, what y'all think y'all want me to ask?" So I put in the chat, ask about what the heck happened with the Bobby Wagner thing. Because unless y'all hiding under a rock, I heard about this Saturday evening. I'm heading out to dinner, and I get a text that Bobby Wagner signed with the Seahawks. So I'm like, well, he probably signed for unseemingly amount of money or something like that, and we just couldn't match it. 1 year, 7 million. And I'm gonna give you an article, and this is actually an article that was written by Mike Fisher, and I'm just gonna give you the excerpts. I don't want no copyright issues or whatever. But the article is entitled "Bobby Wagner Signing," meaning, this is before he signed with anybody. He said the Bobby Wagner signing means Super Bowl level for the Cowboys or Seahawks, because he narrowed it down to these two teams. And he was talking to his friend KJ Wright, who starred with him in the linebacker core for the Seahawks. So he made a comment that says, now whoever signs this guy, um, he's a 9-time All-Pro, 6-time first-team All-Pro, surefire first ballot Hall of Famer. Okay, so he says Bobby will make his teammates better. Okay, wherever he goes, he will help to make that organization take that organization to a new level. Then he ended the conversation by saying this. He asked why should he pick the Seahawks. He said, well, the Seahawks will be home. He knows the building, knows a lot of the personnel. Of course, the defensive coordinators and a lot of the defensive players aren't the same ones he played with. But, he knows the building, knows all the equipment people, knows all that stuff, and that's home to him. He played there for a decade, right? Went to a Super Bowl for that team. Then he says, now, why should he consider signing with the Cowboys? Should a real offer come down the pipe? And he says, because he played under Dan Quinn and knows how to utilize a skill set that will make him dominate for another year. He'll come in and show the Cowboys what a championship culture looks like. How to prepare your mind and body, how to study film, and how to be great on and off the field as well. Okay. Then he ended it with saying, look, the team that signs him will be someone who is serious about holding up that Lombardi trophy at the end of the 2023 season. Of course, this is excerpts coming from an article written by Mike Fisher for CowboySI.com, interviewing KJ Wright. Now, it said, he would be a team that's serious about holding up that Lombardi. This is the guy you would want to get. Okay. Now, I'll cause y'all to remember a statement that your owner made about, I don't know, a year and a half ago. You have no idea the size of the check that I would write that will get us in the Super Bowl, get us another Super Bowl. Well, apparently 1 year and $7 million is too much. Now, I was looking for the excerpts from Stephen Jones's talk to the media, and I actually stumbled across his media talk last year, and he said a couple things. And he said that he's looking at the Cowboys alignment, and he was asking them, would you draft a linebacker in the draft? And he said, that's not really a concern of mine. We're pretty good at linebacker. We're pretty young. He said, but in the alignment we run, of course, they run a 4-2-5, which is four down linemen, 2 linebackers, and three safeties and 2 corners, right? So they run that alignment. So that might not be a thing that they would be willing to pay $7 million for someone that you're not going to be on the field but a handful of times. But my thing is that the mentorship that you get from a Bobby Wagner, how he could mentor a Micah Parsons. I know you got Damone Clark, who coming in, and you got Jabril Cox, and you got Van Der Esch back, and that sort of thing. Man, knowing the defense that you're playing. Having a guy like Bobby Wagner, But maybe they're looking at linebackers like you look at running backs, not a position of concern or whatever. And maybe you think you got enough. But man, I'm telling you, the expertise, remember, $7 million, you can say what you want. This is a first ballot Hall of Famer. And the knowledge that this guy brings to your defense is you can't put a price tag on that, man. So the question I would have asked him is like, why did y'all not pursue Bobby Wagner? $7 million. I'm sure y'all could have got north of that, right? Unless he was just H bent. Of course, now when I asked the question on Mike Fisher's show, somebody came back and said, "Well, the Seattle he gave them a hometown discount." And I'm like, "Bull sugar." I know good and daggone well he ain't giving them no hometown discount because they basically kicked him to the curb after him. He's been there for a decade and went to a Super Bowl with them. And they basically said, thanks for no thanks. You think he gave them a hometown discount? I can ask you a question. Now, I want y'all to be smart here. Now, when I give my cowboy talks, I'm compelling my cowboy listeners to be smart listeners. Don't just accept things that people tell you, right? We just released Ezekiel Elliott after having played here for 7 years and racked up like 8,300 yards and like 60, 70 touchdowns. It was one of the best players ever played for us. I ain't say that. Stephen Jones said that, and I agree with him, right? One of the best players ever played for the Cowboys, right? But he got unceremoniously let go. Wasn't even offered a contract because he said in his talk today that he didn't want to insult him with giving him an offer of like $2 million. So he wanted him to experience the free agency, experience the market. I get that, right? But I ask you this. Let's say he gets signed on by, say, I don't know, the Cleveland Browns next year. He plays for them for a year and they release him. You actually think he's gonna come back to the Cowboys for a hometown discount, considering how he'll probably feel in his heart we did him? Now, Stephen Jones dressed it up real good. He said, "Look here, man. I have the utmost respect for Zeke Elliott, one of the best players ever played for the Cowboys. You really want to treat them with respect because we love what he's done. One of the best players ever played for us. He gave us all he had for the 7 years he was here, but it was time, and we really didn't offer him a contract, because it would have been, disrespectful to him. You don't want to do guys like that. He's talked about guys like Emmett, guys like DeMarcus Ware, all those guys that are surefire Hall of Famers. DeMarcus Ware, I think is just became one or about to be one. And Emmett's one, and it's a possibility that Zeke might be one, right? So you want to treat those guys, but he's not coming back to us for veteran minimum. Because he'll look at how they did him, he'll feel like we did him. So I ain't believing that Bobby Wags went back to the Seahawks with a hometown discount, meaning he would have gave them a deal that he wouldn't have gave the Cowboys, where he would have got a chance to, start over or whatnot. But I don't know. But that would have been the question I would have asked him. But then he spoke on some other things. And contract extension for Dak, which he was non-committal on that in terms of that. Wasn't talking about it. All right, he didn't want to talk about that. So we just, but anyway, they talked about that and everything. So that's just interesting. But I mean, as Cowboy fans, look, man, I know we did some good things, getting Cooks, getting Gilmore, and that sort of thing. We're not done. I hope they're not done because there's still some free agents. Now that he talked about signing Jonathan Hankins and also Calvin Watkins, two big guys in the middle that we hope to draft. Hope to re-sign. And I told you about Jonathan Hankins. The deal's there. I think he's gonna get about $3 million a year, which is kind of standard for what he does as a one-tech guy in the middle. But he hadn't signed, and they're still talking to Carlos Watkins. I still want them to still look at A'Shawn Robinson. I told you that because he's a one tech that can do other things. And you could probably have him for about $3.5 million too. But if he wouldn't give $7 million for Bobby Wagner, maybe he won't get. Maybe we too cheap to get $3 million for A'Shawn Robinson, which I think would do wonders in that middle. and you're gonna need strong dudes in the middle to keep them guys off of Van Der Esch. Remember, we only rolling with two linebackers. That's Micah and Leighton Van Der Esch. I'm the only linebacker we rolling with. Rolling with Curse, Hooker, and Donovan Wilson, and of course, Micah and Stephon Gilmore. So, but I'm just saying, we really gotta do more. We gotta do more, man. I know we just did those two things with the trades, but man, we still gotta get some guys, man. We can't go into the draft, and they want to go in there pure, just getting the best guy. Meaning, if at 26, if my boy from Texas is there, then you take him. If uh, you know, what's the guy? Steve Avila. Of course, now he's come out and says he want to be a Cowboy. You know Steve Avila, right? Steve Avila is the center, played for TCU, and he came out and said that he liked to play for the Cowboys. Now he's graded at certain, if you listen to different publications, as maybe a middle second round pick. He did good at the combine. He ran like 5.21. That's pretty good for a 6'3.5", uh, 332-pound guy. Ran a 5.21 40-yard dash. Pretty daggum good for a dude, almost 3.5 bills. But he said he wanted to be a Cowboy. He says all his family members are Cowboy fans. He says he lives in Fort Worth, played for TCU, which is there in Fort Worth, and he said it'd be cool for him to stay right there at home. He's attaching himself to the Cowboys. That's a dude we would get, man. Since we're trying to, we need a left guard that can play center. We like versatility, right? So it is what it is, man. It is what it is. So we'll see what we can do with that. But anyway, the last news, and I get ready to get off of here. Cowboys, and I didn't put up my dadgum captions. Boy, you got to be better. Got to be better. All right. The numbers came out. We got new personnel that come to the team, and they offer some numbers out. So I want to see what y'all think about this, man. They gave out some numbers, right? Stephon Gilmore had campaigned that he wanted 21. Now we know Deion Sanders wore 21. Joseph Randall wore 21. I know that don't matter. You know about him is underwear and perfume, right? Cologne or whatever they were stealing from Dillard's or whatever store he was at, Macy's or whatever it was. And we know Ezekiel Elliott just took off 21. He might still have some 21s in the laundry that they ain't finished processing yet. Stephon Gilmore wants 21 because he wants to attach himself to Prime Time, who wore 21. It was probably the best 21 that ever played 21, right, for us and for anybody else. They gave Stephon Gilmore 21. Not sure how I feel about that, man, because the paint on that still ain't dry yet. You understand what I'm saying? Don't know how I feel about that, man. I really don't. I mean, I like Stephon Gilmore, and I think he's going to be wonderful accompaniment to Trayvon Diggs on the other side, and I think they're going to be one of the best cornerback tandems, and I think we'll have the best secondary in the NFL when you start looking at the safeties and the safeties and the cornerback combinations. Man, you just gave Stephon Gilmore 21. I don't know, man. I'm still that one got I got to warm up to that one, man. That pain that pain still a little fresh on that one. Brandon Cooks, he wore 13 everywhere he's been, right? From what I remember, I think he's 13 when he's with New Orleans. I think he was 13 with New England. No, he was 13 for the Texans. He's gonna wear 3. Now, what does that mean? You do know Anthony Brown wore 3. I mean, Anthony Brown is no longer a part of our Cowboys' plans, or is he being one upped? He's been un-AWS from his position number. Yeah, Brandon Cook's gonna wear number 3. All right. Uh, Ronald Jones gonna be wearing number 32. Number 32, man. I'm trying to think any Cowboy players that wore number 32 of any note. I have to think, man, about that. I know Dorsett wore 33. I can't remember who wore 32. Probably a defensive back wore 32. Can't think. It'll come to me though. And my man Chuma Edoga, who's the veteran tackle / guard that we got. He played for the Jets and for the Falcons. He gonna wear number 71, and we know that means that's old Lyle Collins' old number, right? It's also one. I want to say it was Flozell Adams' number. I want to say it was Flozell Adams' number back in the day too. Wore 71. Want to say it was Eric Williams' number. I have to go back and check that. But he'll wear 71, which means Lyle Collins ain't coming back, so he'll have to get another number. But I thought that was just some good information to find out about. We got the new numbers that came out for the 4 new players on our team. Gilmore's wearing 21, Brandon Cooks number 3, Ronald Jones number 32, and Edoga gonna wear number 71. So, but anyway, man, and Steve Avila, man, maybe we draft him but I'm all about Smith-Njigba. If he's at 26, you get him. The running back from Texas, his name slips my mind right now. If he's there, you take him. Nolan Smith, if he's there, you take him. If Broderick Jones is there, you take him. If Mozzie Smith, the tackle, defensive tackle from Michigan, is there, you take him. All those dudes, you there, you take him. If Will McDonald from Iowa State's there, you take him. Okay, there's a lot of guys that I think if they're there, you take them. If John Jacob Hingleheimer Schmidt, his name is my name too. Y'all don't know nothing about that. If John Michael Schmidt, if he's there at number 26, you take him. Probably the best guard center available at number 26. So we'll just see what the Cowboys do, and we'll be coming back to you as the draft gets closer. Might even do a draft, do a draft show, where we see what other teams gonna draft. Might get my man RD on here. We'll talk about. He's a Cowboy football. He's a big college football knowledge individual. So we'll talk. He'll get on here. We'll talk with him about that. But anyway, that's all I got from the desk. Uncle Fred from the day. Owners meeting. Jerry Jones talking crazy. Stephen Jones kind of talking a little bit of sense. More sense than he's talked any other time I've heard him talk. But we'll see what happens. And numbers have gone out, and we'll see. I try not to be emotional about that kind of thing, but it is what it is. Once again, please like, comment, subscribe, become a part of the Uncle Fred Sports Experience. I guarantee you will not be disappointed. Talk to you guys later, probably next week, or if something big jump off, a new deal is signed, somebody, new, get they pick up, I'm gonna be right here for it. But we'll catch you guys next time. God bless.